Tommy V in Michigan. He was on fire this morning.
Okay, thank you, Tommy V in Michigan. Yes, sir. If you share my prayers.
Tommy V's on. Yeah, we'll jump over there.
Tommy V doing great stuff over there.
Mr. Lowell Potts. Okay, good morning, Mr. Potts. My name is Judge Lal, and we are addressing your specific case, 24 CR 1767B, in which you're accused of stalking, a misdemeanor charge based on family violence from March 31st, 2024. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Vigiletti. Ms. Vigiletti, this is going to be a not guilty plea, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Am I accusing the case then? Am I arraigning the case?
I'm happy to file a waiver.
All right. Mr. Potts, your attorney, Ms. Vigiletti, will file a document. We call that a waiver of arraignment, in which she will enter a not guilty plea on your behalf, and your case will be further noticed for trial. With regards to this case, Mr. Potts had his initial appearance, and a misdemeanor bond had been set. Was $2,500, and it was a surety bond with no contact and the usual conditions. Yes, Ms. Vigiletti?
Yes, Judge, I believe Your Honor set this bond a couple of weeks ago at $2,500 surety bond, which I completely understand stalking is a very serious charge. My basis for requesting a signature bond today is largely based on just some new information. I got an email on April 17th that I'm happy to forward to the court from, I'm not sure of her exact title. I believe she's a victim's advocate, Gloria Maldonado. The victim was CC'd on the email. It states, Ms. Manugian has reached out to our office and hopes we can help with the best possible outcome with this case. She and defendant are going through some medical challenges and depend on one another for support, love, and care. There are more details in Odyssey under victim contact. Ms. Manugian would like the case dismissed. I've explained that may not be possible. If not, she would like a possible signature bond and no violent contact. So I shared this with the court because this is, completely different than what the police report has said, that, she has wanted no contact and has asked him to leave her alone repeatedly. In addition, I met with Mr. Potts yesterday. He tells me he has a text message in his phone from Ms. Manugian asking him to meet her at that gas station. He shared with me that as soon as they got into an argument, he left the scene. And so this is a pretty different picture than what we got at first appearances. So I did want to raise this to your attention again. Mr. Potts would be happy to comply with any conditions of bond, a non-reporting or not non-reporting, a no contact order, or any other conditions that Your Honor may order. He does not have anyone's phone number memorized, so his family can't assist him with bond. I've not been able to get in touch with anybody in his family. So I'm just asking the court to consider a signature bond with the understanding that this may be a very different picture than we initially thought in terms of the risk Mr. Potts.
Diametrically opposite to what the warrant states, where she claims that she absolutely has had unwanted contact and that she's called the police several times on him, allegedly, and that apparently he just doesn't get the message to stay away. So I'm really curious where the state's going to go with this. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. And Ms. Manugian is on the line and prepared to speak. I will say that I did have a lengthy conversation with Ms. Manugian by phone yesterday, about 1 hour, and we talked about the case. She indicated that the offense that he had in Wyoming which I believe happened back in 2023, did involve the defendant and her. It was a family violence offense that was later dismissed. She also stated that at some point about 3 or 4 years ago, he had placed a tracking device on her car for a period of 4 months. This is typical of, Your Honor, domestic violence offenses, where there is a cycle of violence and a reconciliation and then more issues. So this isn't an unusual case in the fact that there is consistent issues between the two parties. I did speak to Ms. Manoogian. She is in agreement with the state's recommendation, and she does believe that the defendant needs some MHET, that he does need some assistance. She has maintained she doesn't want him to contact her because he is persistent about contacting her, even when she's told him to leave her alone and give her some time. And that's why the police have been called out 3 times in the month of March in order to address that issue. Ms. Manoogian is here on the line. I can let her speak for herself. But again, I would say this is typical of the type of cases that we deal with all of the time in this court. And the fact that there have been previous instances between these two parties uphold the Ayala factors of likelihood of reoffense and intimidation of the witness. Ms. Manoogian, we would like to sound for her at this time.
All right. I gather that's the lady on the iPhone. Are you Miss Sherry Manoogian?
Present, yes, Your Honor.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I absolutely do.
You were involved with the incident with Lowell Potts on March 31st, 2024, from which then he was arrested, and he's been in jail for almost 3 weeks. Do you have any, do you agree with the prosecutor's assessment that you don't want any contact with him?
Yes, Your Honor. If it pleases the court, I would like to give just a short synopsis of what was just alleged by Mr. Potts. I just wanted to let you know that my brother in California, with whom we've visited with their family for 3 months, has been the middle person, the messenger, the whole time. And as of 2 weeks prior to Easter, my phone number had been changed. I changed my number. I would not have texted him. He didn't have a text or email from me telling him or asking him to meet me at the gas station. So much so that I was surprised he even showed up asking for a can opener. And I have complex PTSD, so he really set me off because I had told him, even on the police report on January 20th, please do not contact me. And I want this written on the statement here in front of the police when I was trying to meet with him that day to give him his personal belongings. He was supposed to meet at 2 o'clock, but I went to a business adjacent to get some help with the windshield wipers on my car. And the gentleman there said he was circling the parking lot all morning. And I said, well, he has a storage unit there too. He said, no, he's been there all morning.
Miss Manoogian, that is not a brief summary or a synopsis.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
But no, I did not.
So let me ask some questions, so maybe I'll get a brief synopsis. Have you at any time wanted to have contact with Mr. Potts this year?
Yes. Weeks this year, yeah. We were actually together visiting family.
In California?
Yes, Your Honor, for 3 months.
All right. And do you still want to continue having contact with him?
Only consensual contact, and consensual meaning I consent to him contacting me, or I consent to the visit. I don't want him to walk up to my car unbeknownst to me. I don't want him to, even if he sees me in a business somewhere, not
I'm sorry,
me.
but I'm not going to go that far. This man has spent 3 weeks in jail, and based on allegedly coming to you because you say so. That's not right.
No, Your
No,
Honor,
I
did
want to
not.
know right now, right
him.
now, if he decides to come and ring your doorbell and you didn't invite him. Is that
I
something
don't
that
have a
you?
doorbell. I've been living out of my car
Okay,
to have the freedom to escape him. I do.
all right. Miss
I
Menusian,
can
please
with him as long as
understand.
it's not violent.
I just need to know whether you want to have any contact with this man and for what reason.
Yes, Your Honor, for anything that he may want to speak with me about, or I want to speak with him about. I'm still in the process of caring for him
All right. Thank you.
and helping him. He doesn't have family to help him.
Thank you, Miss Menuchin. You may mute your screen. Anything
ma'am.
else, Miss Falk?
Other than to say, Your Honor, this is commonplace. We see this all the time. That doesn't change the level of issues between the parties or the fact that it is a likelihood of reoffense.
Mr. Potts, you have a very complicated relationship with this individual, Sherry Menusian. And now you have spent almost 3 weeks in jail based on the allegations set forth in the warrant, where apparently she only wants you around when she wants it, but when you are around and she doesn't want it, you end up in jail. Now, if that's the kind of relationship you would like to have, that's entirely up to you. But this is going to be the court order at the present time. Your bond is going to be set at $5,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services, level 1.
Thank you,
You'll
Judge.
report to pretrial once a month. You cannot afford to get arrested again, because if you do, that $5,000 signature bond will be revoked and converted to a cash bond or a surety bond. These are the very simple conditions to which you need to abide. These are not conditions set by Ms. Menusian. These are not conditions set by the prosecutor. These are not conditions set by your attorney. These are conditions set by the court order. And the order says no contact with Sherry Menusian. I don't care whether she calls you, she emails you, she shows up right in front of your face. You need to turn around and walk away. Do you understand?
Yes.
You are to stay 200 yards away from her. You're not to communicate with her in any way, form, or manner, in person, mail, email, phone, computers, social media, or even through a third party. Currently, your status relationship with Ms. Menusian is extremely toxic, and which will only end up with you coming back to jail if you violate these conditions. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
You're not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and you're not to possess any firearms.
I don't do drugs.
Your Honor, we
I don't
do,
drink.
oh, sorry.
Yes, Ms. Falk?
We do believe the defendant has a firearm in his possession, specifically in a storage unit. He will need to surrender that firearm within 30 days to this sheriff's office, which is what we are asking the court to order.
Well, Mr. Potts, you and I, our relationship is off to a great start if you've already lied to me. Do you own a firearm?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to let that slide, but you need to retrieve that firearm and surrender it to the authorities for destruction. Any firearms. You're not allowed to own any firearms or possess them, whether it's in storage, in your home, anywhere. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
I'm being very honest with you. Like I said, my assessment based on the warrant and based on the information I've received from your attorney, the prosecutor, and Ms. Menusian, is that you will end up in jail if you violate your conditions again. Do you understand, sir? All right, he's passing out.
Come on, Mr. Potts. You wake up. You okay?
I don't think he's okay.
Let's take him to med. Thank you. The bond still stays in place, but let's take him to med. Mr. Menusian, again, please comply with the conditions. Do you understand, sir? Okay, thank you.
He is, well again.
I'm sorry, Mr. Potts, not Mr. Menusian.
Okay.
Yes, Ms. Menusian, you may unmute. What would you like to say?
Take you to the doctor. bro.
Yeah, just, that was.
You're on mute.
I'll take you to the doctor.
Okay. Am I muted still?
No, just 1 second.
I-
Deputy, if you want to stop video and take care of the situation,
Yes, he
we'll
needs
take a
help.
brief, just a minute. All right. Ms. Menusian, without commenting about Mr. Potts' health condition, yes, what would you like to say about contact?
Yes, Your Honor. I have been his main provider, his caregiver. He has dementia, which comes and goes. It was not my choosing for him to be incarcerated for 3 weeks. I am the only help that he has, and I need to help him.
Miss
Until
Mnuchin,
such time,
no,
we cannot not have contact.
Miss
I need to
Mnuchin,
help
if
him.
you have contact with him, he's going to end up in jail.
No,
So
he's not.
yes,
No,
he
he's
is.
not.
Yes,
No,
he
he's
is.
not. How
All
can
right,
you
you
predict
you
the
are
future?
you're out. You're out. Thank you. We can remove Miss Mnuchin. Miss Falk, please have Miss Mnuchin contact victim advocate. She cannot have any contact with him.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll make sure she understands the condition.
All right, thank you.